Tim Blankenship here again, Divorce661. I said six too many times. Divorce661 Daily Perspective, episode 27, Day in the Life of a LDA. That stands for Legal Document Assistant, by the way. Paralegals are not allowed to do what I do unless they're working under the supervision of an attorney. That's the difference between LDA and a paralegal at its most basic sense. I do these evening podcasts to go over what we did today. So maybe it helps you if you're trying to do your own divorce, or maybe you're a paralegal or LDA trying to get some help on paperwork. And I say this because we take over so many cases, sadly, where people hire me after they had hired another service, paralegal firm, even a law firm, other LDAs. Maybe they don't specialize in divorce. I'm going to talk about one today. It frustrates me. I mean, I'm glad to have someone retain me and hire me, but it's upsetting when they've already paid someone to do the job and they couldn't get the job done. And I want to talk about in detail at the end of this podcast about my frustration on that and what errors there were. This is a 2021 case that should have never taken this long to finalize. All right, what happened today? 5 consultations on this Wednesday. What are we? November 15th. We took 5 consultations, 2 new cases we took on today. Filed a new LA County divorce case and one in Pomona and one in LA. Received approval on 2 LA County divorce cases. That's good. They're still, the court's clerks are still working. Glad to see they're not taking off or slacking before the Thanksgiving next week. I took on 3 rejected judgments. They're all LA County, actually. So 3 rejected judgments in LA County today. 1 was from Pomona, 1 was from Chatsworth. And that's one of the ones I'm going to talk about. Finalized a Kern County Judgment Package today, and we'll be submitting that soon. Drafted a stipulation to modify terms of a judgment, and took care of 4 settlement agreements. So it was really busy. I didn't get a chance to bug you with my normally 6 to 10 videos. Maybe you appreciate not getting all the alerts if you subscribe to my channel. In fact, if you don't, go ahead and do that now. I never say that. Hit the whatever subscribe and the notification bell button or whatnot. Stipulations. So that's what we did today. Now let me talk about a couple things. Stipulation. If your judgment is finalized and you want to modify some terms, the easiest way is by agreement, and we just draft a 4 to 6 page. It's called a stipulation or modification, and you can modify whatever terms of your prior agreement or judgment, rather, that's been filed with the court, so long as you guys agree to those terms. We've done things for things such as where parties were maybe at one point going to sell the house and divide it equally, and then a year later they decided one spouse wants to buy the other spouse out. We can do a modification for that reason. We can modify custody. We can modify child support, anything literally within your settlement agreement. We can modify. I had someone ask me this week, Tim, we want to increase, and I did their divorce probably 6 years ago, and they said, hey, we're still amicable, but we want to do an increase in spousal support. Can you do a modification for us? And I said, sure, as long as you guys agree, of course, we can do the modification for the increase in spousal support. But my first question was, do we really even need to do that? If you guys are amicable enough, I don't see the point in spending money on me and court fees to file a stipulation to modify your judgment if you guys can just say, hey, we agree to an increased amount. It's not like it's tax deductible anymore, so there's no benefit to increasing it. They're amicable, so they don't need a court order for it. It's not being withheld from their employer. And because of the fact I haven't heard back from them in about a week, I'm going to assume that they took my advice and they're just going to do the increase on their own. There's the only real reason you need to put something in writing is if you want to see a court order that says this is what that new agreement is. And there's only a handful of reasons you might really need to do that. Let me get into this 2021 divorce case I took out of Pomona today. We have a package where we will, if you're trying to do your own divorce, or maybe you've hired someone, as in this case, and the judgments are getting rejected, or any point in the process you want to retain us, we can just take over wherever you're stuck. Some people will have their judgments rejected multiple times, as is the case here. Normally that's with people doing their own divorce. In this case, it was someone who hired a legal service, and I looked them up, but I will not share it. And he said, Tim, I hired you on Monday, and I'm trying to get the paperwork, get the other firm to email you the documents. And I said, guess what? I guarantee they're not going to email me anything. They're done. They're happy. You probably told them you hired someone else. They're like, thank God, because I don't know what I'm doing, and I can't get your divorce done. And I said, don't worry about it. It was LA County, so I was able to order copies from the court. So I had those copies. Just it cost me money, but I'd rather, instead of them spending days trying to get those copies, I might as well spend the money and get the copies. Did a full review, completely messed up paperwork from beginning to end, judgment rejected multiple times. So what I do in these cases, when I get the paperwork, whether you email me the documents or um, email me the documents, or is the power going out here? Email me the documents, or I have to order them. I do a full case review whenever you hire me, no matter what you're doing or wherever you're at in your case. I'm going to review every document: the summons, petition, the case cover sheet, the proof of service, everything. I'm not just going to pick up where you left off and assume everything's done correct, because that will often cause a rejection, because the prior filed documents will cause your petition or your judgment to be rejected. So I would do a full review in addition to finalizing and submitting all your final paperwork to court. But in this particular case, there was issues with their preliminary declaration of disclosure forms, all of the judgment forms, the 170, the 165, again, multiple forms rejected. It was a huge mess. But at the end of the day, when I did the full review, after I looked at what they're trying to accomplish, this was a 2021 case, early 2021, because the case number was like 125 in 2021. So it was probably like February or January of 2021. And so we're a full, 2 years, going on 3 years, and no assets, no debts, no alimony, no pensions, no nothing. The simplest, I mean, from a procedural standpoint, the simplest divorce you could think of, even for someone who doesn't know what they're doing to complete the paperwork. So I'm just amazed how bad this was, when this should have been done 5 weeks after the filing, like where you get the cases done. Couldn't have done that in 2021 because they didn't have the e-file, and they didn't have, you still had to do it by mail. So still take a couple months, but by no means should it have taken longer than the 6 months. So these folks paid another firm only to pay me to take care of it. And I already have it done, fixed all their paperwork. I'm going to have them e-sign everything, e-file it, and I'll probably have them done within the week, just a couple of days for approval with e-file, even with Pomona. So the lesson learned is this: make sure you're checking reviews, make sure it's someone that specializes in divorce. All I do is divorce. I don't do, I don't even know what else there is. I don't do bankruptcies. I don't do name changes. I don't do, there's hundreds of areas of law that I don't know why I can't think of them, but look at the paralegal firm, look at their website. They probably say they do all kinds of things, guardianships, and I said bankruptcy already. Help me out. Put in the comments. What am I forgetting about? I'm losing my mind. It's late tonight. I only do divorce. I've only done divorce and legal separation. It's the same process, by the way. I get asked that all the time. And I've done that for going on 12 years. I've worked for the courts. I am like the Matrix. I've been down there approving judgments for the court, working alongside the judicial assistant and the self-help center. I know when I look at the paperwork, I don't even need to look at the reject sheet, because I was the ones creating the reject sheet. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Day in the Life of an LDA, Daily Perspective, episode 27 for November 15th, 2023, this Wednesday, rainy and cold, hence the sweater. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day.